Yep, and 3 important points again against a side that I expected to be very difficult to play against. The first 2 games had suggested that they were still in a very nice rhythm in that shape that they play with that back 3. There was, even with the losses of bodies in the previous 2 games, there were some terrific opportunities for them to have grabbed points out of the game in Miami and in Austin. So this was never ever going to be easy, and it wasn't a game that I suspected that we would dominate for long periods. What I did feel we were capable and able to do in the end was to find a couple of moments to make a difference, to dig in and to roll our sleeves up under some pressure. I think the stats tell us they didn't have a clear shot on goal, which is, terrific considering some of the possession that they had in our half of the field. And all in all, a very, very good 3 points against a team that, we know these Canadian groups are going to be away from home for a period in the early exchanges because of the weather. We won't know where they sit in this league until we get 8 or 10 games in. And I think they're not going to be too far away again with the sort of bodies that they have at their disposal.
Simply put, Gary, how do you feel about that start for your group?
Yeah, look, it's an easy thing to say all the time. Very cliche about we're taking each game. There were some important factors that we felt in the off season needed to be addressed. One, of course, was trying to find a better balance, a better look, and a more aggressive style at home, given that we dropped too many points here last year. So to get off to a good start here and 2 wins has certainly given everyone an awful lot of confidence. It's a nice foundation. I don't think anyone should get overly excited about it. We're 3 games in. What is very helpful to the group are performances that we can continue to build on. And we haven't always seen free-flowing football here tonight again against a good side. We've had to roll our sleeves up, as I've said, at certain points in the game. And I think the very best teams are capable of taking advantage, finding the right moments in the game, or at least finding a moment, but also being ultra competitive when the chips are down.
Shuffleberg and McDarcy got really good chemistry up there, as was shown on that first goal. What can you really say about their play?
Well, both of them are incredibly creative and bright players. We've lent on Hanny, of course, an awful lot in our short history. Jacob, he's somewhat new to the group, although his relationships around the team are growing every time we play. The ability and connections, as you've said, are improving all the time. And I think he's just continuing to show how exciting he is as a player. With the likes of Fafa on the right and Jacob on the left, we have quite a different look, and it can be very challenging for teams. Today, it's paid absolute dividends. Hanny was instrumental in the first goal. His turn on the halfway line was exquisite, and his weight of pass, not to play it too early, to try and draw the defender, narrow their defensive group off, and then put Jacob into a good position. And Jacob still had a lot to do, in fairness, and the strike is a wonderful one to put us in the lead. And as we all know, goals make a hell of a lot of difference, and we were able to to make some choices and some decisions that otherwise we might not have been able to.
Gary, even though it is a young season, still only 3 games in, was this the game that was closer to your tactical planning from the 3? I mean, you seem to be very happy with what happened today in terms of how the team took care of business. Was this closer to what you planned every week?
Well,
how do you feel about Taylor scoring that goal?
Well, yeah, okay, there's a couple of things in there. As far as the plan of action went, I thought the goal that we were able to, to steal in that first half of the game was very, very important, and based on the players and shape that we had. You know, if I'd have played a slightly different shape to match them up from the outset, we may not have seen, either Jacob or Hanny on the field. I mean, likely not that we, wouldn't have had Hanny out there, but nevertheless, there were some very exciting players on the field, and that made all the difference. As far as tactically, I thought they actually were able to control some nice portions of the game, and in fact, with 25 minutes to go, as I think you saw, I did shift, and we matched them up a little bit more. Because I was concerned that they were taking more and more chances, they were overloading those final third areas, and I wondered if at some point we might fall foul of that. So, there were some really good moments that the guys have worked hard all week and taken on board, and we saw practically. And there were some moments that we had to try and work our way through, and that's what the experienced guys in the group do. They're able to organise and lead, and it makes a hell of a difference. As far as Taylor's goal goes, absolutely delighted for him. I believe Chris told me on the way in, it's his first MLS goal for starters. It gave us not only some breathing space, but at that point, probably, the victory and the 3 points. And for someone like Taylor, and I think pretty much everyone in here understands the type of individual he is, not a bad bone in the player or lad's body, just a terrific individual and a very, very good professional. Couldn't be happier for him to score that goal at that time for the group.
We are going to transition to those on the Zoom team. Go ahead. And if you have any follow-up, just continue.
Gary, you just talked a lot about what Taylor's goal meant to him. I believe he's the club's all-time leader in appearances if you go back to the USL time. How, I guess, relieving is it to have him finally get that first MLS goal for you guys?
Well, I mean, Taylor's not renowned for creation or even efforts at goal. So to see that fly in the top corner was a little bit of a shock, I have to say, but extremely grateful at that stage of the game. Taylor's genuine approach, his versatility has always been a huge help. He is, as you well know, the only survivor of our USL days, and I think that's testimony to what he is, who he is, and how he's been able to adapt to this level. So it really is the icing on the cake for him to score tonight, and exceptionally pleasing for us. I do have to say that I thought there were one or two other exceptional performances. The captain tonight was outstanding, and we all know what qualities Walker has and what he's capable of. But there are particular nights that you need a leader, somebody that stands head and shoulders above the rest, and he was that tonight. He really was. And there was some wonderful, supporting performances. Whilst we expect the world from Hanny, it was not an easy night for him, but he's still been able to get himself an assist. He's still been a threat throughout the game. And you have to remember that he hasn't, this is his first, I think he ended up out there 89 minutes. That's the longest he's played, since the end of last year. He's had some struggles during pre-season, and I'm very, very pleased that he's made it through that 89 minutes unscathed.
As you guys held the 1-0 lead through the early stages of the second half, pretty much through most of the second half until Taylor scored, it seemed like you were pretty willing to let Montreal possess as long as they didn't create a whole lot. What, I guess, sort of effort goes into it on the defensive end of the pitch to make that sort of tactic pay off?
Yeah, I think the stats have really highlighted to us that there was a lot of good work went on outside the 18-yard box predominantly. A lot of pressure, players putting their bodies on the line, defensively understanding their roles and committed to keeping a clean sheet. So that in itself is a huge quality. We actually did not go out there, in all honesty, and try to protect a lead. The problem was that their shape and the ability to find those pockets that we were not occupying because of the way that they play were causing us a lot of problems. So we were at our best when we could aggressively press them in their half of the field. When we did that, especially early on, I thought we found some joy. The deeper we got, the more problematic it became because of the wing-backs. So, as I've already said, with 25 minutes to go, it wasn't what I wanted to do to match them up. But at that point, I felt we'd put ourselves in a position where we'd had some opportunities. We were in the lead. If we could just put a bit of a plug in their pressure, which we did, and we made life more difficult, I still felt that we would find some moments. And in all fairness, there were, obviously Taylor's goal, Teal's effort that skims the post, one-on-one, and of course a couple of very good efforts from dead balls as well. So there were actually some really nice moments in those final 25 minutes, even with a shift.
Yeah, and then the last one for me, you mentioned Teal's effort there, but that was kind of a bit more like a counterattack. You carried it from your own half, but it did seem like, especially after you kind of have a second ball competition all last week against the Red Bulls, that Montreal was able to kind of come away with a lot more of those second balls. Was that related to the shape? Was that just something that seemed to be what happened on the night?
Yeah, I guess there are some circumstances where their shape helps them out in that second phase competition, if you like. But there are also times where you're just a tad unfortunate. Maybe they were a little bit sharper at certain stages. Maybe there was a bit more urgency in their game because they were behind. There can be some factors why they were first to the ball on a number of occasions, and we weren't. But being on the back foot is not easy, of course. There are different qualities that you've got to try and fulfill, and you must stay focused, which the guys did. But this game, fundamentally, was the polar opposite, and always was going to be, to last weekend. Last weekend was played at an incredible pace, very, very competitive, as you know, and a very different style from Montreal to the way that New York play. Well, the pleasing aspect, not only for me but for the group, is that we've gone away from home and kept a clean sheet, and we've been able to adapt to that environment. And tonight, against a really good footballing team, with some excellent quality up front that have created, by the way, some wonderful chances in their first two games that they've not converted, but they've had some great chances. We've adapted again, and the signs in the group are good. Like I said, it's early on. 6-8 games in. Let's have a look at where we are. We hope to keep a decent run going, and obviously everyone will be very, very happy tonight. But it is early on, and we'll see where this Eastern Conference settles out when we're a little bit deeper into it.